Okay, two things we want to talk about today. One is operant conditioning, and the other is marker training. Okay, two concepts of learning that we use. And operant conditioning first. It's confusing. Okay, it's been around since the 1930s. People often misunderstand exactly how to apply it, what the terms mean, but it's important. Okay, we want people to use it correctly. Number one, reinforcement is to encourage behavior. Everybody knows that. Punishment is to discourage behavior. All right, that seems pretty easy. There's two forms of reinforcement. One is positive. Everybody knows that. Okay, and that's one of the ones that's really misunderstood, and people assume that they only want to train in a way that keeps a bond with their dog, and that's true. But positive isn't good. Positive is added. So you've added something. You've added some sort of stimulus to reinforce behavior. It's something that they like. It's something that they want more of, and so behavior should be repeated. Okay. The other form of reinforcement is negative reinforcement. And again, it's not bad. It's removal. So you have removed something that is uncomfortable, or you have denied something, right? So the removal part, if you have a tight leash, and that leash is causing an uncomfortable sensation, all right, giving a loose leash is then negative reinforcement. Negative reinforcement is something every single dog owner and trainer should look to achieve. And we still get calls and people say, I'm not sure that I really want to train with negative reinforcement. They don't understand what it means. So here's the explanation, right? Any reinforcement is to encourage behavior. Positive is adding something that they like. Negative is removing something that they don't like. Now punishment. Punishment is to discourage behavior. So you look at positive punishment. It's not good punishment. Punishment's punishment. Positive means adding something. We're adding something that's uncomfortable for the purpose of discouraging behavior. All right? That could be a lot of things. It can be a pull of the leash on a collar that gives an uncomfortable sensation, prong collar. In other videos, we'll look at how pulling on the leash on a harness or a standard collar, that's actually comfortable. So behavior repeats when you actually are meaning for it to stop. Remote collar stimulation. Those are our two big ones. Those are the ones people call us for because they don't know how to do it. They feel uncomfortable just trying to do it themselves. Now, it could be a number of things, right? It can be a loud noise, clapping of the hands. It could be a whistle to get attention. It's something that interrupts the behavior. Interruption is punishment. And an added stimulus like noise absolutely is punishment if it discourages a behavior. Now, what we don't do is we don't want to get involved in conflict with the dogs, and we don't want hitting, kicking. In fact, if you look at some of our videos teaching about leash work, we want the dog away from us at full extension of the leash when the prong collar engages. And that's because we want to disassociate from an uncomfortable sensation at the end of the leash. When you pay remote collar, same thing, use distance. Coming back to us gives a loose leash, a comfortable prong collar, and the remote collar turns off. So there'll be a lot of tutorials on that. But this is the concepts of operant conditioning, right? So we talked about positive punishment, negative punishment, all right? Here's where people also get this confused. If you trap food in your hand and you're waiting for a particular command to finish, and the dog knows it's in your hand, and you withhold it, and you deny it, that's punishment. The dog wants it. You're telling the dog it cannot have it until it completes something, right? Withholding it, punishment. Giving it, reinforcement, all right? Something else to consider too, okay? It's the means in which trainers have manipulated dog owners into thinking that positive reinforcement is the absolute only way, when in fact, if you're doing food luring without giving the dog the food, that's punishment. All right, so understanding all 4 quadrants is really, really important. All right, the last thing we're talking about is marker training. Marker training is really simple. It's an audible cue, and then the dog should anticipate either punishment to discourage behavior, reinforcement to encourage behavior, right? So you simply say, no. The leash is taut, the prong collar gives an uncomfortable sensation, right? So in time, the word no has a meaning of punishment. You've marked a behavior, you've given a punishment, and so now the word no, they should anticipate something uncomfortable. And ultimately down the road, what you get is you say no, the dog stops whatever it's doing, and you don't have to give punishment. That's in a compliance phase. All right, so when you're marking good behavior, it's really pretty simple. You just say good, and then the release of something that it likes, a treat, a toy, anything, even petting, right? It should anticipate something it enjoys after the word good. Now, these words can be changed with anything. You can simply just pick, off, don't, leave it. It doesn't really matter. But stick with it. Be consistent. Be consistently correct, that we say. You could be doing it the same way every time and it's wrong, which is not going to be helpful. So, you see people use clickers. We use clickers for detection work. When we're teaching detection, it very much is a generic sound, and it sounds the same every single time, no matter who makes the click. That's why we like it. It allows dogs to work independent of the owner or the handler, and you simply just can sit back, hit the clicker when you like the behavior, right? It's found an item or some sort of odor. And then we also use independent reward and rewarding with a remote dispenser. So, but it's an audible cue, so the dog should anticipate either punishment or reinforcement. That's marker training. So we use both during training. There'll be lots of videos to follow, and the application of particularly operant conditioning, because that's really important. People call us to stop things, and we don't sugarcoat it. Punishment is to discourage behavior. That's all it is.